The Grief of the Dead by Rumi. The Prince of Mankind, Muhammad, said truly that no one who has passed away from this world feels sorrow and regret for having died. Nay, but he feels 100 regrets for having missed the opportunity, saying to himself, "Why did I not make death my object? Death, which is the storehouse of all fortunes and riches. And why, through seeing double, did I fasten my lifelong gaze upon these phantoms that vanished at the fated hour?" The grief of the dead is not on account of death. It is because they dwelt on the phenomenal forms of existence and never perceived that all this foam is moved and fed by the sea. When the sea has cast the foam flakes on the shore, go to the graveyard and behold them. Say to them, "Where is your swirling onrush now?" And hear them answer mutely, "Ask this question of the sea, not of us. How should the foam fly without the wave? How should the dust rise to the zenith without the wind? Since you have seen the dust, see the wind. Since you have seen the foam, see the ocean of creative energy. Come, see it, for insight is the only thing in you that avails. The rest of you is a piece of fat and flesh, a woof and warp of bones and sinews. Dissolve your whole body into vision. Become seen, seen, seen. One sight discerns but a yard or two of the road. Another surveys the temporal and spiritual worlds and beholds the face of their king. Jean Klein on silence. Silence is our real nature. What we are fundamentally is only silence. Silence is free from beginning and end. It was before the beginning of all things. It is causeless. Its greatness lies in the fact that it simply is. In silence, all objects have their home ground. It is the light that gives objects their shape and form. All movement, all activity is harmonized by silence. Silence has no opposite in noise. It is beyond positive and negative. Silence dissolves all objects. It is not related to any counterpart which belongs to the mind. Silence has nothing to do with mind. It cannot be defined, but it can be felt directly because it is our nearness. Silence is freedom without restriction or center. It is our wholeness, neither inside nor outside the body. Silence is joyful, not pleasurable. It is not psychological. It is feeling without a feeler. Silence needs no intermediary. Silence is holy. It is healing. There is no fear in silence. Silence is autonomous like love and beauty. It is untouched by time. Silence is meditation, free from any intention. free from anyone who meditates. Silence is the absence of oneself, or rather, silence is the absence of absence. Sound which comes from silence is music. All activity is creative when it comes from silence. It is constantly a new beginning. Silence precedes speech and poetry and music and all art. Silence is the home ground of all creative activity. What is truly creative is the word, is truth. And silence is the word. Silence is truth. The one established in silence lives in constant offering, in prayer without asking, in thankfulness, in continual love. A sermon, Blessed are the Poor, by Meister Eckhart. Blessedness opened its mouth of wisdom and spoke, Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. All angels and all saints and all that were ever born must be silent when the wisdom of the Father speaks. For all the wisdom of the angels and of all creatures is purely foolishness before the groundless wisdom of God. And this wisdom has said that the poor are blessed. Now there are two kinds of poverty: an external poverty, which is good and is to be much praised in a man who willingly accomplishes it through the love of our Lord, Jesus Christ, because he was himself poor on earth. Of this poverty I do not want to speak any further. Yet there is still another kind of poverty, an inner poverty by which our Lord's word is to be understood when he says, Blessed are the poor in spirit. Now I beseech you to be just so poor, so as to understand this speech. For I say to you by the external truth, which is eternal, as that is the only truth. So long as you do not equal this truth of which we now want to speak, you cannot understand me. Various people have asked me what poverty is in itself and what a poor man is. That is what we want to answer. Bishop Albrecht says that a poor man is he who finds no satisfaction in any of the things that God ever created. And that is well said. But we say it better still and take poverty in a yet higher understanding. That is, a poor man is he who wills nothing, knows nothing, and has nothing. Of these 3 points we are going to speak, and I beseech you for the love of God that you understand this truth if you can. But should you not understand it, do not worry yourselves because of it, for the truth I want to speak of is of such a kind that only a few good people will understand it. First, we say that he is a poor man who wills nothing. What this means, many people do not correctly understand. It is those people who in penitential exercise and external practice, of which they make a great deal, hold fast to their selfish I. The Lord have pity upon such people who know so little of the divine truth. Such people are called holy on account of their external appearance, but internally they are asses, for they do not grasp the actual meaning of divine truth. Indeed, these individuals also say that he is a poor man who wills nothing. However, they fancy this to mean that one should never fulfill one's own will in any way, but rather strive to fulfill the ever-beloved will of God. These people are right in their way, but they mean well, and for that let us commend them. May God in his mercy grant them entry into heaven. But in all divine truth, I say that these people are not poor people, nor do they resemble poor people. They are highly considered only in the eyes of those who know no better. I, however, say that they are asses, understanding nothing of divine truth. Because of their good intention, they may receive the kingdom of heaven, but of that poverty of which we now want to speak, they know nothing. If someone asks me now what a poor man is who wills nothing, I answer and say, so long as a man has this particular wish to fulfill the ever-beloved will of God, if that is still a matter of his will, then this man does not yet possess the poverty of which we want to speak. Indeed, this man then still has a will with which he wants to satisfy God's will, and that is not the right poverty. For a human being to possess true poverty, he must be bereft of his created will as he was when he was not yet. Thus I say to you in the name of divine truth, as long as you have the will to fulfill God's will, and as long as you have the desire for eternity and God, you are not poor. For he alone is a poor man who wills nothing and desires nothing. When I still stood in my first cause, I had no God. I was cause of myself. There I willed nothing and desired nothing, for I was a pure being and a knower of myself in full enjoyment of the truth. There I willed myself and willed nothing else. What I willed I was, and what I was, that I willed. There I stood, clear of God and of all things. But when by free will I went out and received my created being, then I had a God. Indeed, before there were creatures, God was not yet God, but he was what he was. But when creatures came to be and received their created being, then God was no longer God in himself. Rather, he was God in the creatures. Now we say that God, so far as he is God, is not a perfect goal for creatures. Indeed, even the lowliest creature possesses that high rank within God. And were it that a fly possessed a reason and could intelligently seek the eternal abyss of divine being out of which it has come, then we would say that God, with all he is as God, would still be incapable of fulfilling and satisfying this fly. Therefore, we beg God to rid us of God so that we may grasp and eternally enjoy the truth where the highest angel and the fly and the mind are equal. There I stood and willed what I was, and was what I willed. So then we say, if man is to be poor in will, he must will and desire as little as he willed and desired when he was not yet. And in this way, a man is poor who wills nothing. Furthermore, a poor man is one who knows nothing. We have said on occasion that man's life should be such that he lives neither for himself, nor for the truth, nor for God. This time, however, we say it differently. We want to go further and say, whoever is to be so poor as I am describing it must live so that he not even know himself to live, neither for himself, nor for truth, nor for God. He must be bereft of all knowledge to the point of neither knowing, nor recognizing, nor perceiving that God lives in him. Even more, he should be devoid of all knowledge that lives in him. For when man still stood in God's eternal being, nothing else lived in him than that being. All that was alive there was he, that man himself. Hence we say that man should be so devoid of his own knowledge as he was when he was not yet. He should let God accomplish whatever God wills, and man should stand void.